Hello to my all of my US 102 history CCAP classes. Um, so I'm going to try to make this video a little briefer than the other one, the first one. So make sure you watch all my announcements. And here I'm just going to elaborate on just how to get this class going. Keep in mind you want to look at the written material that I have underneath this video that gives you examples of video notes and the essay. So let's kind of just talk about the routine of the week. I don't use the course calendar. For a lot of students, this drives them crazy at first. It is to your advantage, but I'm going to explain that later. And then later I'll explain why I'm explaining it later. But the routine is simple. Basically, work is going to be due on Thursdays by midnight and Sundays. And sometimes I'll make all the work due on Sundays. And sometimes I'll give you less work that's due. You will always look in the weekly. So when you open up the modules for the week, and I'm going to open this up very soon for the class, you're going to see weekly work objectives link. Click that. That tells you what to expect for the week, what's due and what day. Then I have readings. And when you click on the readings link, that has the links for what is required to be read for the week. We have a standard textbook, the Zen book that I have in the OpenStax textbook, but I also have other readings that sometimes you'll look over that will be a part of the discussions or can be used for the essay, okay? And then you will see videos, lots of videos. Some of the videos will always be me doing some sort of lecture or an elaboration or a summary of the material we've covered. And then I picked sets of kind of documentary clips or even lectures by other educators that I think will help, kind of break up the monotony of maybe the week, but giving you a wide range of kind of approaches to the important topics that we're covering each week that are relevant to each week's module section. Okay, and and when I post those videos too, by the way, I don't post them because I think that they have to be celebrated 100%. In other words, I might have some little issues with some of the videos that maybe you have issues with, maybe whether it's the style of the video or maybe some of the opinions that are expressed. The idea of history, okay, is it's a discussion about content. It's an investigation. That's what the Greek word means. That's what it originally was is to investigate a topic, inquire of a topic. And you take a certain amount of information and you work with it. And I'm trying to also cover mainly consensus view topics, but maybe with occasionally I might address a sort of alternative viewpoint on some of the topics, or maybe some of the videos will actually even talk about, the way that some of these various some of the subject matter can be looked at in different ways. Okay, so you have to take notes on all of those videos though. And why do you have to do that? Because you're not going to watch them unless you prove that you did. Simple as that. We all know how this works. It's not because I'm accusing everybody of being lazy. It's the most responsible person doesn't do work that they're not required to demonstrate that they've done or did, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So this holds you accountable to the material that, hey, like you're going to write me notes that demonstrate that you watched the video. And what I'm looking for is real information there, not to say like, oh, you know, um, Andrew Jackson was a man. Okay, that's a fact, and maybe someone said that in the video. That's not what I'm looking for. I need it to have content that's that some of the information that comes directly from there that is unique to that video. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about AI and all of that. But I've had students try to use AI for the video notes, and it's a disaster. I can tell what's going on because student will look at the information covered and try to get AI to have a discussion about whatever the topic is that I have for the video. And then it says a bunch of stuff that's not what's being talked about in the video. You're going to have to actually call and talk to me. And we're going to have a conversation if I get suspicion about you using AI in that way for the video notes. And I will not grade any more paper and any more of your stuff until you contacted me if I'm seeing that. And that goes with actually any kind of plagiarism or use of AI that's inappropriate. And I'm going to keep elaborating on what that would look like. Okay. So the videos and the video notes, that does not mean the announcements, just the videos in the module you got to have notes on. Sometimes I will say 4 notes for longer videos, but it has to be more. That's it. If you add more, I don't care, but you can't have less. Okay? And basically the video notes are you demonstrating, it should look like you looked at all the information that was covered for the week, and I know what we covered. So, it's as simple as that. Okay, so then we have the essay. An essay will be some sort of topic that we are addressing in the class, and you can use any of the materials that we covered for the weekly module. That's and the readings, the videos, yeah, the readings and the videos. Although sometimes I may make a very specific statement, say just write about a video. So you cannot use outside sources. Now, if you're using the video, how often do you have to cite? Okay, now you have to cite every time you finish a paraphrase or a direct quote, even if it's the same citation. Okay, so what am I looking for on the citations? What do I make of this? And okay, let me just talk about that for a minute. AI is a thing now, and I'm not anti-AI on a big scale. It has its use, and it could help you. It's okay if you use it to help give you ideas. But ultimately, the essay you send me needs to be your essay from you, and the information needs to be covered directly from what I'm asking you in the essay. Excuse me, instructions, right? And so you're going to, let's say, write about a documentary. Well, the point of citations are very important on an academic level for college level work. There's different citation forms. I'm not requiring you to use a specific form. Many of you will go to a junior college that sticks with MLA, but that's only used in the English department. If you transfer to a university and become a history major, you have to use Chicago style. And if you do psychology, there's another form of citation requirements. And for the academic world, when you're at the university, it's a big deal. It's a major part of the essay, and it's the most unenjoyable thing to do. It's frustrating. And you will have a professor or a grad student that's doing the grading take the red ink pen and go to town on all the mistakes you made and the problems with your citations, and that will affect your grade. Well, why is this? So first of all, the citations are what makes the academic world stand out by having standards outside of what you see on the internet. The internet might have some good information, but it's not required to verify where it came from. The citation is supposed to be a way for any reader to see what is being produced and know where it came from and being able to find it precisely. That is the value and the requirement of academic writings. And when you don't do that, it's called plagiarism, and that's how you lose a job, a reputation, get expelled from a class or a university. So we are going to avoid plagiarisms. If you're overworked, and I understand, I work a lot, and that's a whole nother thing we'll go into later. We're all busy. It's better that you let me know that you were not able to get the essay done. Ask me for an extension. Don't do it, but don't get desperate and send in a plagiarized essay, something that you didn't write, whether it's through AI or just found on the internet. Just don't do it. Listen to me again. Don't do it. Every semester, several students do it. Doesn't matter what I say. I don't know why. Even grown-ups, I've had a grown man, a businessman making way more money than me, almost crying, begging for mercy because I caught him really making a very obvious, like giving me a fake paper. I don't want to do that with anybody. I'm not interested in making people feel humiliated or bad about themselves. I just want you to stick to the, just don't do it. Okay. So, um, okay. For the essay and then the essays, so every one you're going to have citations within them to prove that this is you and that you know, where you got this from. There needs to be dates somewhere, like what time period are we talking about? Dates matter. That's history. You don't have to, in this class, you don't have to memorize anything. We're not going to do multiple choice quizzes or tests, but you have to write down something that the essay, when I'm reading it, should tell me, what time period are we dealing with here? Like when is this happening? Give me some names of some people. Okay. So here's how I grade. I don't grade that hard, and you're going to discover that. But this is what I'm looking for. Before I read your essay, I'm going to look, is there citations, and are the citations being done the way I've asked them? Okay, good. Next, are there dates? Good. Oh, and the citations are all just from what we covered in this weekly module. That's only it. Nothing from the outside that I didn't actually put in the links. Good, good. Now I just read. And most likely you will get full points. Full points. You're on point. And if there's something I need to correct or there's something I need to elaborate on, I'll help you out. By the way, do not stress about this too much for the first week. I mean, do your best to get it right, but for the first 2 weeks, I'm really going to work with you and let you fix things that if you mess up anywhere or need to redo something, I got you. Okay. So that's how that works. And, okay, then there's the discussions. So for the discussions, it's pretty straightforward. Stick to the topic. Don't use stuff from AI for that as well, or other places. Like make it your own. Get engaged in the conversation. Be respectful of others, and also don't be so sensitive. If somebody challenges you on something you said, that's college. Deal with that, please. This is something you have to do. But here's the other side of it. Challenging somebody's discussion is different than attacking and degrading or being condescending, being a jerk, being mean. And it's not always easy to precisely identify that by an example, but we all know what it looks like, right? When you're sitting there. And sometimes we all don't know what it looks like. Look, so if you feel offended by something that I wrote, that's something that a student wrote, and the tone or whatever, don't feel embarrassed to write to me and let me know, because we can address that, and then I can look it over and we can kind of assess if there's a misunderstanding, or maybe somebody, someone needs to rein themselves in a little bit. Okay, so I want you to feel comfortable to engage in the class, but I want everybody again to be reminded, okay, yes, the Constitution gives you the right to free speech, but it's a classroom and people have a right to feel like this is a place in which they can communicate freely and not be attacked and degraded. And obviously anything that's actually a direct attack or any kind of language that would be harsh or really awful, I'm just going to delete, and we're going to have a conversation about it. Okay, so that's just forbidden in the class, any kind of like direct rudeness or like that. But I honestly haven't had that problem, I think, in 10 years of teaching. So I'm not too worried about it, but I just need to make it clear. Okay. This is, I'll leave it at this for now. Keep in mind that I am going to be working a lot here in Portland, Oregon, where I'm at right now. I'll be back in Modesto off and on to California in my busy, multifaceted life that I live. With my number for the weekdays, try to write to me on Canvas. And if you need something immediate, you can text me during the working hours during the week to ask a quick question, that maybe I can answer for the class. That's the only reason you would do that, in terms of texting me at all. Okay, it's for something like that. And then I'll get back to you on my lunch break or my work break here. So that's it for now. I hope you all are ready to get into this class, and I'm looking forward to meeting you all, at least in this virtual reality world that we live in online, and we'll be in touch.